Toni Iseman left her home in Nebraska and moved to Laguna Beach in 1970 when she was in her mid-20s. She was captivated by the beauty and charm of the town and became a member of the Laguna Greenbelt Board of Directors, which was founded in 1968. Thus began her career as a dedicated environmental activist. In 1998, she was elected to the Laguna Beach City Council and recently retired after a record-setting 24 consecutive years on the council, including 4 terms as elected mayor. She is considered to be one of the most successful and effective council members to have ever served the city. This brief video, which was adapted from a 40-minute documentary, celebrates the seminal period of the 1970s and 80s when Toni was known as the Phantom of the Canyon for her environmental activism. Saving Laguna Canyon from development was a crowning achievement for Toni and the citizens of Laguna Beach, and this activism continues in Toni and in all of us. This was presented by the Laguna Greenbelt, Inc., January 12, 2023. Activism protects Laurel Canyon from development. In the late 1980s, the Irvine Company floated a plan to build a subdivision of 3,200 homes and 2 golf courses in Laurel Canyon.
We would meet in Barbara Stewart's back room for every month, month after month after month, and talk about how we're going to raise enough money to pay the lawyers. And we need the lawyers because the Irvine Company had horrible plans for Laguna Canyon. And I don't think a lot of people know what would have happened had we not prevailed. The 18-hole golf course, the hundreds and hundreds of homes, everything would have been graded, strip malls, the traffic, we would have lost the essence of the canyon. So, and would not have the magic that we have right now. Jim Dilley, thank you Jim, whoever you are, you really set us straight on the importance of a green belt, and that was the beginning.
The Laguna Greenbelt confronted this new challenge with a series of lawsuits, and an activist offshoot, the Laguna Canyon Conservancy, mobilized opposition with Burma Shave-type signs along the canyon road, calling upon Irvine Company head Donald Brent to withdraw his plan.
I said, why doesn't somebody put Burma Shave signs in the canyon? Now, this was an old group. Most of them were old enough to remember. And for the first set of signs, Cy Jones came up with what the sign should say. But I was waiting for somebody to put them up because I had a good idea, but I certainly didn't think I'd have to do it myself. So finally, no one stepped up. So now this is when Phantom of the Opera was just new and a big deal. So that was that. And we had a lot of fun. I mean, the things that we came up with, fine poetry, all of it. But I would, in the morning after being out there at midnight putting the signs in the ground, sometimes it's hard if the soil was really hard, but we'd figure out we had to space it far enough apart so people could actually read them.
A decisive response in 1989 involved the construction of a 636-foot mural made of more than 100,000 photographs in Sycamore Hills under the guidance of photo artists Jerry Birchfield and Mark Chamberlain.
We thought at the very least what we could do to preserve the environment would be to photograph it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bob Gentry.
Walk to Save the Canyon on November 11th, inspired by Mayor Lena Lenny and under the concept and direction of Harry Huggins and Charles Michael Murray, that drew some 8,000 to 10,000 protesters.
November 11th is an opportunity for everybody in Orange County to participate in the walk. Actually, it's a walk, run, bike, or bus into the canyon.
Hi, this is Jose Feliciano speaking on behalf of Bette Midler, Robert Englund, Mike Farrell, Julie Harris, and John Denver. What I'm about to say concerns us all. I am sadly amazed at the unbelievable rate of growth in Orange County. We must stop and ask ourselves some important questions. Why are we losing our majestic canyons? Are we really increasing the quality of our lives or just adding to the congestion and smog? Walk, run, bike, or bus with other concerned citizens into the heart of Laguna Canyon on Saturday, November 11th, Veterans Day. Meet at the Tell, the center of Laguna Canyon at 11 a.m. Bring your friends and family because together we can make a difference. Remember, once it's gone forever.
Have been trying to get access to the Irvine Company, get access to the owner, Donald Bren, who, by the way, is one of the richest men in the world, to ask him to set aside this land, to either donate it or to help us find a way to buy it so that we can preserve it. So up until now, we've been working within the system and quietly, I would say. With the release of the environmental impact reports and the fact that we're looking at such a short timeline, we have begun to use other kinds of tactics, including picketing, first at Donald Bren's home outside of Linda Isle, where he lives, just to make sure that he is getting the message.
Saturday, November 11th, Veterans Day, 1989. But this Veterans Day is more than a remembrance of those who took a stand for their country. Today, thousands came together to take a stand for the land, to preserve hope and space for all of us, and to stand to place this day in one cherished canyon in Orange County. The Laguna Canyon is the place.
Boy, am I glad to see you. We have had hundreds of people working on this night and day for 6 weeks, but we had no idea what kind of a success it would be until you showed up. So would you please give yourselves a tremendous ovation for being here and for making this a success. You are absolutely wonderful.
Laguna Beach negotiated the purchase of Laurel Canyon property in 1990. To make the initial payment of $20 million required a property tax bond, and in November of that year, nearly 80% of Laguna Beach voters approved it.
Because the city of Laguna Beach, at a time when no bond issue passed any place in the state, because it had to be 2/3, so it had to be 67 2/3% to pass. We passed it just under 80%. 80% of the people agreed to tax themselves to raise $20 million to buy the down payment on the canyon. And so I'm not sure what the deal was, but we went to the Hotel Laguna for some big celebration, and Donald Bren was there. And somebody introduced me to Donald Bren and said, "This is a Phantom." He just went, he had no idea what it was, but it was, you know.
Toll road momentum stopped by local concerns. A proposal in the early 1990s of a privately financed toll road that would divide the Greenbelt, limiting wildlife movement and migration, was underway. The 4-year-long, ultimately losing battle to prevent the construction of this road was led by the Laguna Greenbelt and the Laguna Canyon Conservancy, with lawsuits and demonstrations, including one in which 22 protesters led by the Laguna Greenbelt activists and later Mayor Toni Iseman chained themselves to bulldozers.
Tim Carpenter ran a little thing on how to get arrested and be safe. So I kind of sat in on it, not knowing whether I was going to be arrested or not. But I did go out on the road in the morning, and it was raining. It was the time of the bankruptcy for the county, and there must have been 20 of us out there. And I hadn't made up my mind one way or the other if I was going to go out for civil disobedience. But there I was standing on the road, and I heard the sound of the bones of a giant sycamore being broken in half by a bulldozer. Oh. It was a long ways away, and it was such a huge tree you couldn't tell because it was quite a ways off the canyon road. But you know, it's one of those things, if you hear it, it's heartbreaking. Yeah. So I took off my Birkenstocks in the muddy soil, and And there was a guy there that was following me, or I was following him. And I was out of breath, but there were too many people watching. So I had my pride, so I just kept running and running and running. Couldn't stop. Got to the bulldozer, and the guy that was driving it was happy to see me because he could stop and have a break. So he turned the thing off and left, and the young man with me had a kryptonite bicycle lock and locked it around my neck to the drive shaft of the bulldozer. And they called the sheriff. And well, first the fire department came and took the kryptonite bicycle lock off. They had to use the jaws of life to open it because it's pretty tough. And as I said to somebody, and they were really cute, these firefighters are all really cute, so I got teased about that. But then the sheriff came, and I think I got cuffed, got in the back of the little vehicle, and then they took me down to that white bus that you see on the freeway with the bars on the window. So I was riding in the white bus, and I had a big desire to carve my name in the back of the seat because I guess the energy in there got me going. But I ended up in jail for several hours with some of my friends.
Interestingly, see, the Irvine Company was supposed to build a piece of the corridor, and they did. They built it through Spectrum 5, and it connects to Laguna Coast Wilderness Park. And it used to work a whole lot better when there weren't all those developments that the Irvine Company is putting in. Nonetheless, they put in this corridor, which ended in the dark, scary tunnel.
Liz Brown and the Greenbelt is a resource for all of the information we as a community need in order to be environmentally responsible. You know, she's taught us, she taught me a lot, she's taught the community a lot about what we need to do. And I used to think she was really fussy. She is fussy, but she's right. Yeah. She's right. And, you know, this is a fight that we can't give up on. You know, there's so many things. But the animal corridor is very interesting because, you know, we want this dating service to expand from one park to the other, one area to another, and so you have to have a good way to mix the gene pool, right, so these animals can go back and forth. So that's something that she is adamant about and will push and keep us on target.
Deer went to Aliso Canyon. There were like 100 or so deer in Aliso Canyon during the fire because it didn't burn. And there were some refuges here or there.
All of this didn't just happen. It happened because people saw a need and persuaded others to help them do something about it.
HAL stands for Historic American Landscape Survey. Historic places are special places. They're important touchstones of national, regional, and local identity.